With me here today. We're going to get to your questions in just a moment. First of all, we've got to get to our pictures. People send in pictures. If you want to send in yours, send it to zack@motormouth.ca. That's ZACK at motormouth.ca or ZACK at motormouth.ca if you're in the United States. Okay, so first one comes from Dwayne. Dwayne Rose sent in a picture of his Palisade. I think you're going to see a trend here. Dwayne likes white. I do too. There's his fully loaded Palisade and his beautiful S6. Interesting. I never used to like white cars, and now we have a white car. We have our Cayenne is white, and now I like it. I think it's good. I like white. Hamed from Australia. We were talking about Utes and how popular Utes are in Australia. If you're not familiar with what a Ute is basically a compact pickup truck. And compact pickup trucks are incredibly popular in Australia. So he said that the most popular is the Toyota Hilux and all the Japanese brands. And then he said this one, the Amarok from Volkswagen, is quite popular. And then there's the Mercedes X, which is really just a rebadged Nissan, and that one's not so popular. Brian sent it a question a little while ago talking about getting a 2 Series BMW, and I love the 2 Series. By the way, in a couple of weeks, I'm getting the new 2 Series Grand Coupe. So the 2 Series, you see the car there, has always been either a coupe or a convertible. Now they have a 4-door version of it. I'm going to get that in a few weeks. So Brian was asking what I thought of it. First of all, I think it's a great car, but I said if you're going to buy one, if you can afford it, make the stretch and get the inline 6-cylinder. He says he doesn't regret it at all. I'm not sure if you can see in there, he's got his little dog. What is he called? Snoop Dogg in the back. So that's a 240iX Cabriolet. Nice car. And he says he doesn't regret at all picking up the inline 6-cylinder. James, a regular, James Dumas, a regular here on the channel, has got a brand new Can-Am 850 XTP, I think it's what it's called. So congratulations. And we also have, where is it now? Yeah, we also have a video. This is from Alex in Israel. And a few weeks ago, I asked a question about how's everybody holding up in COVID? So let's get Alex on.
Hey Zach, how you doing? In a few videos back, you asked the people to tell if they lose their jobs or what they do in COVID-19. So in COVID-19, I lost my first job as a mechanic service in Renault Nissan group, and then now I get my new job as a service advisor in a Toyota dealership. Very tough job, but I'm pretty happy with that. At least I get a job during this situation. And my question is about the 911 Targa. Did you drove one? I saw the video from some German guy, and he said on the highway, on high speed, it's really noisy because of the combination of the half a roof Targa top. Any answers? Thank you.
So there's Alex. By the way, if you send in a picture, zack@motormouth.ca, you can send a video. You too can be an internet star like Alex. So I'm glad to hear, I'm sad to hear that you lost one job but picked up a new one. That's great news. And I think that, yeah, for some people it's really bad. Like if you're in the hotel industry, stuff like that, it's not good. Now, your question about the Targa, I didn't really notice. I mean, anytime you've got a car with the roof off or part of the roof off, it's going to be noisy at high speeds. German cars, some of them are quite noisy and have a lot of buffeting on the highway. Put it this way, when I drove the Targa, I didn't notice it was particularly bad. And if you're buying a car like a Targa, you kind of have to know in advance that there could be some wind buffeting and stuff like that. All right. We can do super chats today too. I'm paying attention this time. Last time I missed some super chats. All right, let's get into the questions, shall we? Barrack says, looking at buying a new mid-size pickup, deciding between a Tacoma or Ridgeline? Which do you recommend? Well, as somebody that owns an older Tacoma, now granted mine is really quite basic, doesn't really matter. It all comes down to dollars in and dollars out. The Tacoma, what happened in my light? I'll be right back. I got a connection on one of my lights, is weird. Just based purely on resale value, I would suggest the Tacoma. The Tacoma has amazing resale value. So I call it the dollars in, the dollars out. So you pay, maybe more for the Tacoma, but they hold their value incredibly well. And there's always somebody that wants a nice Tacoma. Trust me. You have to pay top dollars to get a used one. So based just on that, I would suggest the Tacoma. If you like a more car-like ride, and you're not using it for, all of its attributes for towing and hauling and all that, the Ridgeline is very good. Matt Culver. Hey, Zach, I'm looking at a bunch of vehicles. They all have 1.5 to 2.5 four-cylinder engines. They're all so similar. Why don't all manufacturers set up common suppliers to make all these engines? Well, that's... it's called competition. It's called business, and one brand is trying to do more than the other. There is some sharing, though, and one thing you have to know is that brands often are owned, or a brand often owns multiple different lines of vehicles. So, for example, you have Nissan Renault. So a Renault engine that you get in Europe, we don't get here with a Nissan product. Or it's not badged the same way, but it is the same engine. So there is a lot of platform sharing going on between these groups. Excuse me. One thing to consider also is, you get a group like Volkswagen Group. They have so many different brands. So they've got Volkswagen, they've got Audi, they've got Seat, they've got Skoda, and so on. So they share the technology over many, many brands. Pandemic has accelerated technology trends like demand for home offices, remote work. What trends do you see become popular in cars in pandemic era, either technological or buying preference? I think, and I've said it before, and we're seeing that already initially in terms of sales, is that we're starting to see the brands that offer a lot of value, or the brands that are the most trustworthy, are the brands that are going to do quite well. So we're starting to see brands that offer value like Hyundai and Kia are selling incredibly well. Mitsubishi offers a 10-year warranty. That gives people a lot of assurance when they're buying a new car. They don't have to worry about any sudden repairs. And then brands like Toyota will do well because they're so trustworthy, and Honda as well. People really like them. So as something to consider is I think that is the trend. Also, there's going to be a trend towards sort of basic transportation. There's a big difference between what you want and what you need, and I think a lot of people are going to be buying what they need, not what they want. Sort of more basic transportation. With all of the throwback reviews you've done recently, I'm finding it hard to let go of my 05 TDI Mark IV Golf after replacing with a new GLI. It's in mint condition. Am I crazy not to let it go? Cheers. So I think what you're referring to is I'm getting these cars from my buddy at Core Cars and doing videos. I'm trying to do one a week, but it doesn't always work that way. Actually, we have the Going, the SLS as well. So it's kind of fun for me to get these cars and drive them. And the ones he's had for me to drive have all been what I call survivor cars in great condition. But your point about Mark IV Golf, it is... There's the number one thing. Oh, welcome. Come on in. Hello. What's your name?
Jack.
Jack. You want to have a seat? Jack, have a seat.
A seat.
Yeah, we want to hear your thoughts on what happened to the Suns.
They lost. Well, they didn't lose, actually. They went at 8-0.
And what's going on with the Raptors?
2-0 series lead.
And who's going to win, the Canucks or St. Louis?
Canucks in 7.
Canucks in 7?
Yeah, it'll be close, though.
Who's going to win the Stanley Cup?
Colorado.
All right, there you go.
And the Suns are going to win the draft lottery tonight.
Oh, it's tonight?
At 5:30 in 30 minutes.
Is that why you're wearing the shirt?
If you hear me...
If screaming?
That's why the Suns have done
you're
well.
a good boy, Jack. There you go. There's our biggest sports fan in the house, getting me a nice cold Stella. Mm-hmm. That's the subscriber sip. If you're watching, most of the people watching live subscribe. If you're watching after the fact and you're not subscribed, I have a sip, you subscribe. And also hit the like button. So we're at 23 likes and we have 80 people on board. So we can do better than that. Okay, back to getting rid of your '05 TDI. Now, regular viewers of this channel know I love TDI engines. I love diesels. And if you've got a really nice running '05 TDI, there's always going to be someone that wants that. There's a huge, not a huge, there's an intense diesel fan club that love diesels. So you'll have no problem selling it, but you probably have a really hard time getting another one. So if it's running well and you like it and you don't need the money, it might be worth keeping, because once you get rid of that TDI, you might never get another one. Oh, just a quick update. So we were off for a couple of days. That's why I wasn't here on Monday. We went over to Vancouver Island. We took our diesel Cayenne, and we started out, driving in the city, and the fuel economy was around 10 or 11 liters per 100K. By the time we drove up to Comox, which is only about an hour and a half, the fuel economy was down to about 8 liters per 100 kilometers. That's a big SUV with over 400 pound-feet of torque. That's incredible fuel economy. Here's a perfect example. When we left and headed up from the ferry terminal, which I said is about an hour or so, the range on the trip computer said 650 kilometers before the tank would be empty. We drove all the way up to Comox and then almost all the way back down, and the trip computer, the mileage kept going up and up and up and up, because the computer's calculating how far can you go on this tank of fuel. So we got back to the ferry almost 2 days later, and the fuel economy was still 650 kilometers. Just amazing technology. So I'm a huge diesel fan. Okay, no super chats today. I have a special window open to make sure I don't miss them. So I apologize for doing that last time. Zaki says, curious to know what your thoughts are on an APR tune for a Golf R. Do you think it would be reliable in the long run? This is a perfect question for the Hive. You need to go and ask the people who have this car, who have done the tune. So you want to go to a web forum like Vortex, and there will be a web forum for your Golf R, and you can search, and you've probably done that already, and find out the reliability of it. So I don't know the ins and outs of every available thing for every car, but you really need to ask the people that own your car and who have done this what their thoughts are on it. So for every car that's in the marketplace, there is an associated web forum somewhere. So if you have a 2010 Honda Civic, you can put it Honda Civic web forum and you'll find one. So Zach, that's my advice to you. Find out what other people who have done the tune have to say about it. West Coast says, hey Zach, we have a 2018 Crosstrek, love it. Do you think it'll be worth trading it in for a 2021 Crosstrek with more powerful engine? Extra 30 horsepower, justify it. Interesting you should bring this up, because I just got an invite from Subaru Canada. They are doing a test drive opportunity for that very car in about a month. Okay, so the second or third week in September here in Vancouver, I'm going to get the car. The product experts will be there, get to ask them questions, and I'm going to be doing a video not only for this channel but also for Motoring TV. So if you're not in a rush, and I don't think you really are, you've got a perfectly good car there, stay tuned. I'll give you more information when I get a chance to drive it. That's the one weakness for me of the car you have, is I don't think it's powerful enough. It does the job, it gets good fuel economy, and all of that is true. Just for me personally, I'd like a little bit more power. Is it worth trading in and taking that depreciation? Maybe not, but stay tuned. I'll get you the review in a few weeks. Have you checked the Polestar 1? Looks amazing. Is it a Volvo? Well, Polestar is technically Volvo. They're running it as a separate division. So Polestar and Volvo, owned by Geely, which is a Chinese car company. The development is, for the most part, still in Sweden. I think the battery technology is done in China. But they are going to try and peel that brand off totally separately from Volvo. But the one thing I'll say, having seen Polestar cars in person at auto shows, is they're beautiful cars, and the technology, and this is the thing, is there's going to be so much competition in the electric car business. But I saw a study today that showed that 80% of all electric cars being purchased are Tesla, and that's a big worry. Is that the perception of the public is it's got to be Tesla or nothing. And there are a lot of very good electric cars out there made by very reputable brands. The Korean brands do a great job with their electric vehicles. General Motors does a good job, in my opinion, with the Bolt, and they're going to have more and more cars. The Volkswagen Group hasn't really introduced all of the electric cars they have planned. So there's going to be lots and lots to choose from as we go through the next 2 or 3 years. My worry is it's going to be in the perception of the public, Tesla or nothing, which is a massive detriment to the whole industry, because billions, and I mean billions and billions and billions of dollars, needs to be spent by these companies to develop these cars, including Polestar, including Volvo, and including Geely. So yeah, I think it's going to be fascinating to watch what happens. Hey Zach, I'm in England, but work for a Scottish company here in the UK. Can't believe how good your Scottish accent is. Would love to hear the story behind your parents moving to Canada. That's the best from Clive. Aye, Clive. So in the WRX video I put out a few days ago, I did a Colin Mcrae accent. And Colin Mcrae, if you're not familiar, was the guy who really put Subaru on the map for the World Rally Championship with the Impreza, and just an amazing driver, a Scottish guy. I'm not sure where he was from. Was he from Aberdeen? I'm not sure. But he had a great Scottish accent. Unfortunately, Colin Mcrae was killed not in a car accident, but a helicopter accident, I believe with one of his children. It's a terrible story. And he was the pilot of the helicopter and crashed. And unfortunately, we lost one of the greatest drivers in World Rally Championship. But yes, he's Scottish, and in the video I did a little Scottish accent. So my mom and dad are both Scottish. My dad lives in Toronto. He is from Edinburgh, and my mom actually lives in Edinburgh in Scotland. And my dad went to the Royal High in Edinburgh, and a few years ahead of him was Sir Sean Connery, another great Scotsman. Sean Connery. So yeah, my parents immigrated to Canada in the 50s, the late 50s, and my mom and dad my mom went back and forth. They're not together, obviously. My mom ended up back in Scotland, but my dad lives in Toronto. Yeah, there's loads of Scottish families who moved to Canada at that time. All right, we do have a super chat here, so I am going to go down there and say hello to TK Porsche. Zach, Tesla shares closed today at 2,000 with a market cap of 373 billion, more than 4 GM Toyota combined. Your thoughts on Tesla tulip mania or real long-lasting company? I've been talking about this for not months, but years. I don't get it. Like, the cult of personality has shifted from Steve Jobs. Do you remember people used to line up at the Apple store to get the new iPhone, and it was on the news at and people would run out with their new phone. I got the first iPhone, all that. So that cult of personality has shifted from Steve Jobs to Elon Musk, okay? And Elon Musk is like P.T. Barnum. He is a great salesman and a great huckster of his wares, whether it's SpaceX or it's Tesla. There is nothing proprietary about what Elon Musk has in his cars, other than the software of the big screen. Batteries, electric motors, and software is what you need for electric cars. And all car companies can develop this. So they do have some advantages with some battery technology, but other companies are developing. Solid state batteries are in development with Toyota. They believe that they're going to have a different type of battery technology. There's all this stuff. So the thing is, what Tesla has is a first to market advantage. Okay, they really pushed the electric cars at a massive loss for many years, and they got a lot of attention. And they proved that if you could sell an electric car to people, and people would pay a premium for it. And that they have been able to bottle. That is the lightning in the bottle that they have. Now, these valuations, the valuation of the stock market generally today is crazy, based on the fact that there's 40-something million unemployed in the U.S. There's people unemployed all over the world. This disconnect between what's going on with COVID-19 and the stock market right now is mind-boggling. And then you have people piling into Tesla with the hope that they are going to be the dominant player. Tesla will be as pervasive as the smartphone. Everybody will have a Tesla. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. I just said to you, 80% of people who are buying electric cars are buying Teslas. But 99% of people who are buying cars today are not buying electric cars. So as much as everybody would love you to believe that electric cars are going to take over the planet in the next 2 or 3 years, just not going to happen. There will be plenty of internal combustion engines sold, and I'm talking hundreds of millions of them in the next 10 years. Yes, we're going to start to see an increase in the electric car market for sure, but a lot of this is paid for by you and by me, by subsidies. When you take away electric car subsidies, the sales of these vehicles go down to almost zero. So we have a situation where you have a car company that is selling a product that people want, but it's underwritten by taxpayers. And the car company hasn't really made they have, I think, $10+ billion in debt. Now, obviously, they're going to split the shares and all that stuff. So, I don't know. I mean, it's just a fascinating thing. I mean, what you're talking about are tulips. I mean, the crazy people were. What about Beanie Babies and all the other crazy things? I just don't see it. I mean, yes, we have a success story. People will pay to have a Tesla. It's also a status symbol. That's the one thing a lot of people don't talk about that I like to talk about. Owning a Tesla is a status symbol. It's now, I am a forward-thinking, cutting-edge, trendy person. I got a Tesla. And that's part of it. And that's part of marketing. And that's what they're selling. So I don't know. Is it worth $2,000 a share and more than all of the other car companies combined? Not a chance in bloody hell. Toyota has, I'm not sure what the amount of cash they have in the bank, but they have so much cash on hand. I heard a story one time that Toyota could stop selling cars and pay everybody in the company for 5 years. That's how much money they've got. Anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts below. What do you guys think at $2,000 a share? I don't get it. But then again, there's a major disconnect with the stock market generally right now. I don't understand it. What would manufacturers do if there is a limit on horsepower numbers? There's not a limit on horsepower numbers. The limit is on emissions. And that's why we're getting hybrid supercars. And that's why we're getting cars with more electrification in them, is that they can provide all the torque and power and not have an impact on the environment the same way they would if you had a 1,000-power supercar. Well, they can make up a lot of that torque and power with an electrified system. So that's what they're doing, and it's helping to spur innovation in that regard. But yeah, I don't think they'd ever limit that. They'll limit the emissions. Reliability for a Bentley Continental V8 Flying Spur or the GTs. I like the GT's look. I like the look of them. I would suggest the reliability on a complex car like that is probably below the industry average, but I don't know. That's something you could easily look up. How come manufacturers shove the same engine in different cars like Dodge is doing lately? I find it impressive. How can manufacturers shove the same engine in different cars like Dodge is doing lately? Well, this is, I mean, this is not uncommon. Car companies use the same engine in pretty much all of their vehicles. I think you're talking about the Hellcat. Is that what you're talking about? The Hellcat motor, 700 horsepower they're using in other products. I would suggest that you know, when they develop an engine for a car, they have to amortize the costs over millions of units or hundreds of thousands of units over many, many years. So what you probably don't know is traditionally when a car company would make an engine, the lifespan of that engine is somewhere between 20 and 30 years. Now they modify it along the way, but the actual engineering and development that goes into a block and all of the things that are, it's amortized over millions of vehicles over many decades. So they have to share it with different brands and different cars because it's billions and billions of dollars to create a car and certainly new engines. Raj is saying the new Targa looks amazing. I'm surprised it doesn't have larger following fan base. Is there a two-wheel drive version? I can't remember now with the new one what the configurations, if it's a 2 or a 4. The Targa, yeah, there seems to be two camps there. You either want a coupe or a convertible, or maybe you don't and you get a Targa. But I think the wraparound window of the Targa is just a fabulous design, and the way the system works to gobble up the part of the roof that disappears is fantastic. Yeah, a really pretty looking car. For Porsche purists, it adds some weight, and maybe they don't want it. But I off the top of my head, I'm sure it's a 2 or a 4 anymore. Why don't you review Toyota Fortuner and the Land Cruiser Prado? I think you're talking about the 4Runner. Is it the 4Runner? There's some cars that we just don't get here. Like in Canada, we don't get the Toyota Land Cruiser. And yeah, so it's just not available. Land Cruiser is available in the United States, not available in Canada. Do you recommend getting extended warranty on BMW cars? I have an 18 X3, love the car, and plan on keeping it for another 3 years. Okay, if you've got an 18 and you plan on keeping it for 3 years, what you can do is go back to BMW and get it certified, and you would qualify for a certified pre-owned warranty, which takes you to 6 years, which is just going to be about perfect. So that's what you need to do, and I do recommend for a BMW that you do have it under warranty. So it's going to cost you a few $1,000s to get it certified, so they put it into the shop. They run it through their process, they go through the checklist, they update things that need to be done, and then you have the warranty extended. And it's a comprehensive warranty, kind of like your bumper-to-bumper warranty, and extends for another 2 years. So you get 4 years initially, and extends it for another 2, so that gets you up to 6 years. And I highly recommend it for people having a car, a high-end car. You want to have it under warranty. Josh is saying, my dad got BMW Android Auto. He loves it. Well, that's good. Josh's dad has a 7 Series, a new 7 Series he just got. Yeah, I guess that's a new addition because BMW only had Apple and you had to pay for it. And now they got rid of the subscription model and have added that in. And that's great. And I'm glad to hear that your dad has a 7 Series and is an Android user. I'm an Android user. I've had conversations with these car companies like Porsche saying, why don't you have Android Auto in Porsches? And they're like, Porsche owners don't use Android. And I'm like, hello, I'm a Porsche owner and I use Android. So I think it's just a silly thing. But yeah, I'm glad they're added it. Eric from Montreal, back with the GLK diesel question. Since you prefer the V6, would you recommend a used ML diesel instead? Friend loves the torque of their diesel model. Throw the Grand Cherokee into the mix. I know more about the ML than I do the Grand Cherokee. So, Eric, I would do a little bit more research. Same thing again, go on a web forum for that engine. That's a Viamatori engine. I know they did have initially some issues with the exhaust gas system, so I don't know all the details on the Grand Cherokee. The ML, on the other hand, there are plenty of them out there. Fantastic engine, and I would, if you could spring for the ML with the diesel, the Blue Tech engine, wonderful choice. Same BMW is another option as well. Okay, so have a look for that. All right, we have another super chat here. We have Trevor McDougall. Hey Zach, what do you think about buying a used Cayenne for a family vehicle? What else would you recommend for sensible money? Thanks. Well, you've put sensible and Porsche Cayenne in the same sentence. Now, you have to be aware that when you buy a used premium car like that, there comes a certain responsibility to maintain it. And for that, you have to spend some money. Now, I've owned two Cayennes. Our first one we had for 6 years, and we never did anything to it other than an annual service. And an annual service on a Cayenne, depending on where you take it, is going to run roughly $400 to $600. Okay, now that's not cheap. That's not like a Chevy Impala kind of annual service. But if you do the service and you keep up on the service, as prescribed by Porsche, these cars are very reliable. I'm not sure which one you're thinking of. You can add below, Trevor, which one you're talking about. But if it's the base model Cayenne VR6, very, very reliable engine. There's loads of them around. It's the most popular one. Most people think it's the Turbo or the Cayenne S. No, the base model with the 6-cylinder is the most popular. So that I have no problem recommending. We switched from that one to a diesel. And it is, in my opinion, I'm biased, of course, I think the Cayenne is the best premium family vehicle. It's the right size. It's got a nice interior. It drives well. They're very well made. If you maintain them properly, they actually can be quite reliable. So there you go. I can get behind a Cayenne all day long. So let me know, Trevor, below which one you're thinking of. James is here. He put the picture. Let's get to James's picture again. I want to show you. James got his new. Where's James? James got his new ATV. That is a Can-Am 850. So there you go, James, with his super chat saying, hit the like button. So yeah, that's a good idea. So we have 150 people. We have 60 likes. I'll do a subscriber sip. You smash the like button and we'll get back to the questions. Okay. See if I'm missing anything here. All right, go back up. I got to find out where I was. See, when I go to the super chat, I got to go to the bottom, then I got to go back to where I was. It's not your problem. That's my problem. I'll deal with it. Oh, by the way, you know who's really liking her Instagram is Andrea. So Andrea's Instagram is Motormouth, name of the channel, _ Andrea. And she loves when you guys make comments, clean comments on the pictures, and she's enjoying chatting with some of you there. So yeah, please like and follow along with her Instagram, which is Motormouth _ Auto. No, I'm Motormouth _ Auto. She's Motormouth _ Andrea. There you go. And the other thing is sign up for Car Cost Canada. Use the promo code Motormouth, the name of the channel. Become an expert member. And when you're doing searches for new vehicles, please use that. You get more searches for free, and why wouldn't you? Raj is back again saying, do you think Acura will bring back the Integra? My first car was a 2000 GS non-VTEC in silver. Love that car. So I did, along with the Survivor Series, I did the WRX with only 10,000 miles or 17,000 kilometers. I did a GSR video the week before, and I think that's the one you're referring to. It was a great car. I was driving it. I was just thinking, the car had about 100,000 kilometers on it and just drove like it was new. A beautiful car. I don't think they're going to bring back that nameplate. Unfortunately, Acura really screwed up. When they went to the alphanumeric system, they got rid of a couple of great names. First of all, Acura had a Legend. Their car was called Legend. It was a Legend, and they stopped selling a Legend. And then they had the Integra, which had a massive following. It was almost as popular as the Civic. Not as popular as the Civic, but it was in the same sentence, but with a lot of young enthusiasts. You know, you buy a Civic, an SI, or you would go up market. Ooh, you've got an Integra. That was like the hot one to have, right? The better looking girlfriend. So I don't think they're going to bring it back, but they gave that name up. The one name that I'm glad they gave up was Vigor. Remember the Acura Vigor? Not a good name. But Legend. My dad had a Legend. He had the very first Legend, 1989. Great car. 2.7 liter V6. Mwah. That thing was like a sewing machine. East West 113, love your content and channel. What do you think of the new Honda and Nissan? What do you think of the news Honda and Nissan are bringing, getting goaded to merge by Japanese government? Like to see Honda merge, collaborate with. Here's the thing is, I think that the Japanese government, with the whole Carlos Ghosn fiasco and all of that kind of stuff, and the cross culture with the French, and they're looking maybe to another company to help repatriate Nissan to a strictly Japanese brand. I don't know. All of the shenanigans around that whole Nissan thing with Carlos Ghosn getting thrown in jail and then smuggled out of like a trombone case or whatever the hell it was. It just, the more you read about it, the more you hear about it, the more you realize that, the higher levels of Japanese government and society really kind of narrow thinking. So I don't know. I think it's just that they want to repatriate it. That's what I think. The Queen's Half Corgi. By the way, speaking of people who follow along on Instagram, I think it's the Queen's Half Corgi. Andrea says, "Oh, the Queen's Half Corgi." So there you go. Appreciates your feedback on Instagram. Have you finished filming and editing the Nero EV review? I have a major confession to make. This is an absolutely true story. So there is no Nero EV video coming out, and I'll tell you why. So Andrea and I did the Nero EV review, and I dump everything into the computer, and I try to do it that day or the next day so I don't forget. I get the GoPro out, and what do? I delete all of the files off the GoPro. And what files were those? The Nero EV. First time I've ever done that. It gets better. I email Kia and I said, can I get the Nero EV back just for one day? Because all of the other footage I have, all of the driving shots, the outside, the inside, I got all of that. I just need us talking while we're driving so we can do that again quickly. The car was being used by the food bank as part of the COVID relief. Wasn't available. So they're just about to retire that car. And I said, can I get it back for one day? They said, absolutely. So we got it back for one day. Andrea and I, we did redid our in-car portion, the chatting back and forth, talking about the car. Guess what I did? I did it again with the same frickin' car. Twice. I deleted the clips. Twice. My fault. Crazy. With the same car. What's the chance of that? So about a week goes by and I'm like, okay, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to edit the Nero EV. Where are the clips? You deleted them, dummy. So, yeah, that is a true story. So not only did I do it once, I did it twice, and I did it twice with the same frickin' car. The car has been retired. There's no Nero in the fleet. When one is, I will get it back. So there you go. Not good. Not good. All right. That's the update on that. Oh. What happened to the old Nikon cameras on your desk? Sorry, I hit the tripod. They're right here. This is my Nikon F. My Nikon F. That is a cool one. My dad gave me that one. My dad gave me the other one too. It's not that I haven't gotten rid of them. I just didn't put them out. So there you go. There's the Nikon F. Where's my other one? Stand by. Where did I put it? Hang on, I'm coming. There's this one. There's a big Nikon. That's my Nikon D600. But I don't know where my other one went. It's in a drawer here somewhere. Yeah, I'm a Nikon still camera guy. This is a Lumix, this camera here. So yeah, there you go. But the other one I have is the most valuable of the bunch. Beautiful old camera. I'll pull it out for the next one. How's that? Jonah says, people still line up at the Apple store for new iPhones. Trust me, they still do. Yeah, I think that most people order them online now. They have the pre-order thing. You can get them in the courier to you now. Hey, Zach, I'm looking at the Audi Q3. Do you think it's worth waiting for the 2021? Not seeing much info. Love your videos. I would say if you're not in a rush, it is worth waiting for the 2021 only purely on the fact that there's going to be very few 2020s around because of COVID and the stop of production and the start of production. And if you're going to lease the car, you're going to get a better lease value on a 2021 and resale value. So why get a 2020 when here we are almost September now and the new models will be coming? It will soon be, in a few short months, a year old. So get the 2021. You can drive it for over a year as a current model. So that's going to help with resale value. If I was in the market for any car right now and I didn't need to buy it today because, you know, the car I have is breaking down or whatever, I would wait to get a 2021 because the number of 2020s available is limited. That's what I would do. Make sense? Tesla stock can go down much farther than it can go up. I don't know. I don't know. The whole thing is like suspended animation. I don't know. I just don't understand. You know, first I haven't picked this camera up in a long time. Holy crap, it's heavy. I don't use this one. Oh, I don't use this one much anymore. Here's the thing is once you go back and you start using technology from a few years ago, you're like, that's kind of old and antiquated. The lens is what's beautiful though. Look at that beautiful lens. That is a 24 to 70 2.8 professional lens. That's worth about what, $2,600 just for the lens. Great lens. Will Chrysler put the Hellcat on the Pacifica to expand their horizons of great new ideas? I don't know. That would be kind of funny, though. The man van, right? The man van, the ultimate man van to have a Hellcat. You could Hellcat everything. They should sell Hellcats to other companies. I'd be down for that. Another Tesla. I love the tech, but Tesla doesn't attract me at all. The interior doesn't work for me. There seems to be a serious manufacturing issue. I saw an article from one of the electric websites talking about Model Y issues with, you know, interior fit and finish and all those sorts of things. So, yeah, I don't understand how Tesla can be worth more than every other car company in the world, and they're making basically what one car brand would make in one factory. Like, it's crazy to me. What do you think about the Volkswagen ID cars? Do they really have a chance against Tesla like many claim? Well, we'll have to wait until we get a chance to drive them. I've only seen them. I was in Frankfurt in September for the Frankfurt Auto Show this past September, almost a year ago, and we got a chance to see the ID3 in person. It looks good, but as with most electric cars, they cut corners on the interior to keep the price down and also the weight down. So they had some sort of funky interior pieces to make it cheap and cheerful. That is not coming right away anyway to North America. Between now and Christmas, we are going to get a chance to look at the ID4 or the ID Cross, which is going to be the utility they will sell here in Canada. And that's shared technology. So if you look at Audi's e-tron system they use in the e-tron and the Q4 e-tron and the e-tron Sportback, that's basically what's going to be in the ID. And in some jurisdictions, those cars sell very well. For example, in Norway, the country with the largest electric take rate in the world, more electric cars are purchased there than internal combustion engines because of massive tax rebates and subsidies. You'd be crazy not to buy an electric car in Norway. The Audi e-tron is the best seller. It's not Tesla, it's e-tron. So it's going to be interesting to see in the European market with a brand like Volkswagen that has such strong market recognition, what's going to happen. Android versus Apple users is such a stereotype. I don't know. Some of those stereotypes are true. Why hasn't Mini Cooper moved with the times and developed SUVs? Also, Mitsubishi and Mini Cooper seem to like using money but not developing new models people want. Well, I don't know about that. They do have an SUV. It's called the Countryman. It's just not a big SUV. And if you look at the BMW X1, which is their small utility, it's the same platform as the Mini Countryman. So BMW owns Mini, and they co-developed that platform to share between those two brands. So the X2 and the X1 and the Mini Countryman all share the same platform. So they do make utilities. And on to Mitsubishi. Mitsubishi has a new Outlander and a new Outlander PHEV excuse me, coming next year. They're going to have an updated Eclipse Cross with a facelift, so they are doing stuff. It's just maybe not as quickly as you'd like. What do you think about the new Xse Highlander? I like the Highlander. I think they did a very good job with it. It handles much better. It's quieter than the old one. It's got a much nicer ride, improved design, I think. I think the design looks good. The interior, unfortunately, some of the nice features are only available in Canada anyway in the top trim. So I don't know if the XSE gets you the large screen, which is something some people are going to want. I just see it where I drive around. The Kia Telluride and the Hyundai Palisade offer a lot of value for your money, which brings back a point someone else made about trends during COVID. And that is where these brands are absolutely going to dominate. Brands like Toyota, Kia, and Hyundai, where they offer a lot of value or they offer a lot of reliability, are going to do well. So I got zero problems with the Highlander. Go and try one out, see if you like. Okay, Trevor's back talking about Cayenne. 09 Cayenne S, no issues with the maintenance, sensible money as in used, not brand new. Keep up the great work. One thing I would suggest is the Cayenne S is that you do some investigations and get the pre-purchase inspection on the car. I really do know that with the S engines, with the larger engine, that there could be, I think it was the cooling pipe issue, and also the transfer case. With that can be problematic, but sometimes that's all been done by the time you get to it. I had 09 Cayenne, but the VR6 version, and I really liked it. And yeah, I mean, you're talking now about a car that's 11 years old. So my number one tip for that is make sure you do your due diligence and have the vehicle inspected, because you can get a deal on a car which ends up costing you a crap load more money because it needs a lot of maintenance. Find the nicest one you can with the lowest miles, that's had the best maintenance, it's had a full service history, get it inspected and enjoy it. It is a nice car. I'm starting a car-themed YouTube channel and Instagram account. From your experience, which manufacturers are most generous with press cars for newcomers? Well, you know, you can't just start and say, hey, I have a YouTube channel, I got an Instagram account. Like, any schmuck can do that. Anybody. I mean, anybody can have a YouTube channel and an Instagram account. What you have to prove is that you know what you're kind of talking about, and you need to get some cars to review that are friend and family cars. So if you have a friend's got a cool Mustang, say, hey, I'll do a video on it, I'll do some Instagram pictures, and, you know, do a professional job and start getting a little bit of a following and do those sorts of things. No car company is going to say, oh, he's got a YouTube channel and an Instagram account, quick, get him a car. No, you got to show them that you actually have something to offer. I mean, anybody with a smartphone can do a video and stick it up on YouTube and take pictures and put them on Instagram. That is not rocket science. It takes a long time to create a following and to create a style and all those sorts of things. So my advice is borrow cars from friends and family, do videos on them, learn how to do it, and then once you can show that you actually have a bit of a following, you might want to start not with car manufacturers, but maybe with a car dealer. Say, hey, I will do a video for you you get the video for free if you give me the car for the day. So they get a promotional video out of it. That might not be a bad way to go. Kevin Harrison. Elantra GT hatch has been discontinued in the States. Have you heard the same in Canada? They're calling it N-Line now. Now the thing is, the Elantra sedan has been shown, okay? But I think that it's just a switch over because the new model is coming, right? So they have a brand new model, and what will eventually happen is they will kind of go back to the hatch. I'm guessing they will. So they're getting rid of the Sport and the GT and calling it N-Line, like they did over at Kia. So my guess is that it probably will come back at some time. It's just the switch over from one model to the next. I don't really know anything more than that. Arthur says, how much for the 2005 Subaru WRX you reviewed recently? So the Subaru WRX STI, first of all, a rare car. In Canada, when that car was new in 2005, that car cost almost $50,000 brand new. Huge money, right? This car has 17,000 kilometers on it, or 10,000 miles. It has basically been wrapped and preserved and stored. So someone is going to really want that car. And by the way, the 05, from the feedback I got from a lot of people, is kind of like the sweet spot in terms of the right year. Now, some people might want it to be the Subaru Blue, but either way. What's going to happen with that car, from what I understand, the owner, when he's selling it, if he gets a great offer for it from somebody in Canada, probably sell it. But I think it's probably going to go on Bring a Trailer, and then the market will decide. That's an auction site, if you're not familiar. Bring a Trailer, you post the car on there, and then the community decides what they believe a 10,000 mile WRX STI is worth. So I can't really give you a price. It's basically whatever the market decides, and I think it's going to go to the Bring a Trailer auction to find out what that is. Are you going to start showing more EV models now and into 2021? Yeah, we do cover EVs now and again. The issue is that EV videos don't do well. I mean, it's just the way it is. Electric vehicle videos don't do well for whatever reason, because 95 to 99% of people, when they're shopping for a car, aren't shopping for an electric car. That's just the reality. Why is it that the RAV4 19 and 20 that is made in Canada, that the suspension starts to rust right away even when it's like new? I didn't know that. That's news. So thanks for sharing that. I'll have to find out if there's some rust issues. Adnan is here. We have the brother of a famous contributor to the chat here, DJ Pleasure Seeking Missile. Brother to DJ Pleasure Seeking Missile. I bought my 500 Abarth a couple of months ago and I absolutely love it. How come you haven't reviewed one yet? They're a blast to drive. I think I did do an Abarth. I have driven it. It is a blast to drive. I think there is one on the channel. What it might be is I might have done a review for TV, but I didn't do it for YouTube. That could have happened, but I have driven it. It's fun. Great car. So I apologize for that. That might have been sort of like in the early days of the channel, and when I would go on a car launch, I might have only done the TV portion, so that could have been the reason why, but I have driven it. Yeah, because I know for the TV show I used to be on, we actually had a classic, an original Abarth on the show. Just arrived. It looks like I missed the sports update. Jack was in, my son, talking about. Jim saying I had a Nikon F3 in the 1970s. Now I'm worried about where I put my old Nikon. Where the hell? I'm gonna quick look for it. Ah, there it is. This. So my dad gave me this for a big birthday of mine. This is a beautiful Nikon B2, it's called. It's from the mid-50s. And so, just to give you a little update on this. This camera Leica was the big camera maker, and the Japanese were known, and this was true in the car industry as well, for taking design and then making their own. So, Toyota and all of these different car companies were known for sort of borrowing heavily from European brands, but making kind of like a better version of it. So they started making a camera that was like a Leica. And this was the very first camera to have an all black body. So you can see Nikon today has an all black body. And this was the very first camera to ever do that. And that meant if you had a black body camera in the 50s and 60s, that meant it was a professional camera. So this camera was never sold in a camera store. It had to be ordered through a newspaper or a magazine for a photojournalist. And that's where this camera came from. Time magazine, the famous Time magazine pictures of the year and stuff, a lot of them at that era were shot on this camera. So this has an f1.4 lens, and my dad bought it in the 1960s. And this is just a beautiful camera, and he gave it to me, which is a family heirloom. So that's a Nikon. I went with Mitsubishi to Japan a couple of years ago, and we did a tour of all of, like, not a tour of all of the stuff, but we got kind of an indoctrination into the Mitsubishi group. And Mitsubishi is one of the largest companies in Japan. 1/10 of Japan's GDP is Mitsubishi Group. And one thing they own, have you ever had Japanese Kirin beer? Mitsubishi owns Kirin beer. And Mitsubishi also owns Nikon. And I didn't know that. So they told us, we're going to go to the Nikon Museum. So I took this camera with me to the Nikon Museum. And the guy at the Nikon Museum was like, "What? You have that?" I said, "Here, you can hold it." He goes, "No, no, I don't want." Anyway, so it's a real special camera. So there you go. So I'm glad some people are into cameras. Mike R is here. Hey, G70 road and wind noise versus a 330. Any thoughts? I don't know. I mean, this is not hard. You can go and try it for yourself. So the 330s, the 4-cylinder, I didn't really notice anything. The 3 Series has run flat tires, which can be noisy. So you need to go and try these, because I'm trying to do it from memory. The gut feeling I have is I didn't really notice there to be a big problem, but go and try it for yourself. What do you think about Sony cameras? Sony is absolutely clobbering the camera market right now. So Nikon and Canon were dominant, Canon more so in the last few years than Nikon. And then Sony comes along, and Sony's absolutely crushing it. They're selling. A lot of guys who have loads of Nikon and Canon gear are getting rid of them and getting Sony cameras. Do Genesis have actual dealerships in Canada? I heard parts of the United States they don't. It's an issue for them to compete even if their cars are so well received. It's slightly different here in Canada. Canada is farther ahead with the implementation of the Genesis brand overall than it is in the United States. And part of that is the fact that we have a very small country in Canada. Massive land mass, but you can really focus on 4 or 5 key cities and get most of the country covered when it comes for auto sales. Not the case in the United States. And the Canadian model that is being used to sell cars directly and fulfill the car sales and service with the customer directly, kind of like the Tesla model, is farther ahead here in Canada. In the United States, they're trying to emulate it. But yeah, I don't know anything more than that. I suspect that it's a teething issue, and they'll finally get there. Got to remember, they only have, excuse me, right now they only have 3 cars. They're soon to add an SUV, but still a very small company. Thinking about buying an Audi S3, what do you think? Well, I think the S3 is a great car. It's basically a Golf R, okay? So you're buying a Golf R with a trunk versus a hatch. So look at both. It might be better to get Golf R, if you like the hatch idea, and you want maybe a manual, you can get the Golf R. The Audi is only the automatic and a trunk. So you have to kind of decide which one you like. But they're basically the same, using the same engine, MQB platform, and so on. So I have no problem with either one of them. They're fantastic. The only thing is, there's going to be an all-new S3 and an all-new Golf R about a year from now. That's still quite a bit of time. So if you're not in a rush, you could wait till then, or maybe you could get one now, and if you wanted to trade it in, you could then. Any update on a 2021 Sienna review? Oh, by the way, I have sent the email in to Toyota, and I did get a response back talking about the Venza, the RAV4 Prime, and the Sienna. The only answer I got back was on the RAV4 Prime. I will be getting a RAV4 Prime next week, only for the day. So we're going to do a video on it, and it will be released. It's under embargo a week from tomorrow. So the 29th is when the RAV4 Prime video will be released. So that one, that one is going to be coming out. The other two, I'm guessing, will be coming shortly after. They have this model for how Toyota is distributing the test units and doing it all under embargo. So I'm guessing within a few short weeks later, we should get both. But right now, it's just going to be RAV4 Prime. Going to see if I missed anything. Mitsubishi owns Nikon. What the hell? Never knew. Yeah, it's true. I didn't know that either. There you go. So I just want to let you know that we're up over an hour, and thanks to everybody that's here. Enjoy the weekend. I keep thinking it's like Monday, but it's not, because I was off for a few days. So today's Thursday. We'll be back on Monday with another live show. What's dropping on Saturday? Cadillac CT5V video. I'm just editing it right now. The CT5V video will be out on Saturday. Next week, we'll have the Toyota RAV4 Prime and something else. Anyway, those are the ones that are coming up right now. Okay, I will chat with you guys on Monday. Take care, everybody. And if you want to send in a picture, Zach@motormouth.ca. We'll chat with you later.